It's easy to think about all the ways that the web has changed our life. I mean, there's all the information anyone could ever want to know right at the tips of your fingers all the time. Soon after the invention of the internet came the birth of social media, platforms where people can create an online presence, express their opinions, and interact with others. There's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, Snapchat, the list goes on and on. But the point is, as we come closer to a constantly connected culture, we can't go about business as usual. Companies need to meet their customers, their employees, and all of their stakeholders where they live, and that's online through social and mobile sites. What does that look like in HR practices, though? How does that translate to the business world? Well, one way that social media is revolutionizing HR is through the recruitment process. It's changing how companies recruit, who they recruit, and it's cutting some major costs along the way. But social media is a two-way street, and it's also changing the way that job seekers find and apply to jobs, and it's laying out the criteria that companies need to have to attract and retain the right employees. So let's take a look at some of the recent stats and trends that influence this. The amount of American online job seekers has doubled since 2005, bringing that statistic up to 79% of American job seekers who utilize social media, and 73% of companies who have successfully hired job candidates using social sites as well. So like I said before, if your job pool is on social sites, that's where you need to be with your nets ready. And like Eric Qualman explains in Socialnomics, the use of social media cuts out intermediaries or the middlemen in the process of recruiting. So companies no longer have to stock up their HR department with recruiters. They don't have to pay for expensive headhunters or recruitment agencies. Because by utilizing the tools of social media like LinkedIn, you get a more direct, insightful, and fuller picture of the job candidate. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So what's the value to a recruiter to have applicant pictures, videos, articles, projects, endorsements, and an entire professional network, all in about the time that it takes them to type their name? Well, I'll tell you one thing, it definitely reduces the guesswork that went into traditionally reviewing resumes and having to read between the lines to discover those little insights. It also means that the skeletons are no longer safely hidden away in the closet, and it requires applicants to be responsible and maintain a professional reputation. This also means that companies can screen their potential applicants based on desired traits, qualities, education, or experience. And 42% of companies have reported an increase in quality applicants due to the use of social media. And then the transparency that social media gives applicants as well as employers has greatly reduced turnover. And that's due to the better person-to-job fit, as well as accurate expectations and realities of what the work life is really like. But that's not enough. Using social sites like LinkedIn is just the first steps companies need to take. 93% of these companies already report using LinkedIn for recruiting, but only 36% of job seekers are active on LinkedIn, with 40% being active on Twitter and 86% active on Facebook. So to remain competitive, companies need to develop a diverse multi-network social recruiting strategy. Now that's a mouthful, but technology is always changing and companies need to remain up to date. 94% of job seekers reported that they're more likely to apply to a job with a company who actively manages their brand. And that means being accessible to mobile users. Close to half of all job seekers report using their mobile phones to look up jobs at least once a day. But 90% of Fortune 500 companies still don't allow mobile access to their sites. So the companies who do fully integrate their social recruiting strategy have an 87% greater chance of attracting the right people. Speaking of the right people, the millennial generation will soon dominate the workforce, and we have some specific requirements. We absolutely need transparency, and we're way less loyal to our employers than previous generations. We value a good work-life balance, and we want room to grow. We also want to work for companies that make meaningful contributions to society. And 64% of millennials report that they'll take $40,000 a year at a job that they love over $100,000 at a job that they think is boring. Potential employees are vetting their employers just as critically as the company recruiters are vetting them. And 11% would even decline an offer from a company with a bad reputation, even if they were unemployed. Over half of job seekers now are looking at employee reviews and salary information on sites like Glassdoor before they even consider applying to the job. So now employers are being held to just as high of a standard as the employees are when it comes to their online presence and transparency. So to sum it all up into 3 main points, using social media to recruit saves time, money, and ensures a better fit for the companies. Employers and employees both need to use social media to create and maintain their online brands. And finally, transparency is the name of the game, and it'll help for employers to reduce turnover and for employees to have higher satisfaction at work.